just look strangely uncomfortable. Can you ask the raptor for motivation, please? Okay.
She's very photogenic.
Nothing can stop us now.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's Chip and Dale. How are you guys doing? Hello, Grogu.
Don't he be shy? If you want him over.
Universal Orlando Resort, Earl the Squirrel needs his own Christmas tree over here for the meet and greet. I think so. I think we're gonna make that happen. We'll put that.
4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded.
Oh wow.
Do you think the people on the moon ever look over and say, wow, it's a full spaceship Earth tonight?
But welcome back to the sign welcoming you to Universal Orlando Resort.
Terrifying, isn't it?
Hiya, Scooby! We're here at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort with the newly opened Kona, I don't remember what it's called. You know what? I love that intro. That great little blooper. I'm sitting there going, I cannot remember what the name of that place is. Welcome in.
Who am I?
everybody.
Why am I here?
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Glad you guys could join us, and welcome to another Ear to Ear Magic live stream. Coming to you live from Calvin's car this evening. Calvin is preparing for the idea of live streaming. Life happens, and you just have to be prepared for it. And so a power outage has Calvin out in the front in his car. So, but I'm just so glad Calvin can be here. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to hanging out with us this evening. If this is the first time you've ever joined us here on Ear to Ear Magic, my name's Chris. I'm your Disney travel agent in the parks. This is Calvin. He's your runner in the car. And we're going to be here to hang out with you guys tonight. We wanted to take a couple of seconds and just talk with you. We have a great group of people here in our community from Ear to Ear Magic who are going to be prepared to run with us in November for the 2023 Run Disney Wine and Dine race series. And for some of you guys, it will be your first time ever running in one of these races. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that you guys had a place to ask questions, be prepared, and start preparing for your races now so that by the time November comes around, you guys are fully prepared and ready to go. So if you're watching tonight, whether you are watching over on our Facebook group, and whether you are watching from YouTube, we're glad you guys can come in here tonight. It's just going to be a laid back time. It's not going to be that long, just enough time to kind of talk about some things, give you guys a chance to answer questions, and just prepare you guys a little bit and inspire you to start getting ready in your training for the 2023 Wine and Dine. So how you doing tonight, Calvin, besides the fact not having power today?
There are worse problems in the world, my friend. I'm happy to be here and happy to help everybody get ready.
So I love it. The idea is that you just keep on swimming and we just keep on making it happen. So welcome in. So glad that you can hang out with us tonight. Calvin has been preparing this and been talking about this with me for a good while now, actually for well over a month. And it's coming up to the point where if you are running in this year's half marathon in November, it's time to get ready. And this will be my first time ever running a half marathon. Now, thanks to Calvin, he pushed me for my first 10 miler in the past Spring Surprise in April. It was a great time. It was a great weekend, but I need to start preparing for the half for November, or I'm going to be in major trouble. Maybe not during the race, but come Monday, it might not be as pretty. So we're glad that we can talk about this and just kind of get prepared for it. Real quick, I wanted to jump into the comments and say hello to everybody. We've got people watching, like I said, both from our Facebook support group and over in YouTube tonight. And for those who are watching on YouTube, if I may just for a second, I would love for you guys, if you are either already a runner when it comes to Run Disney or you're interested in doing so, we would love for you guys to go over to Facebook and take a look and hang out with us and see right over there. See if I can get it to work here. I'm going to pull it this way. I don't know if I can get it to work. Our Ear to Ear Magic Facebook group. So it's called Ear to Ear Magic Run Disney Support Group. And normally I can just close this right there, but now it's just giving me Calvin. So I'm going to take Calvin out if I can. Let's see. I'm getting all kinds of things popping up here now. I'm going to move that. And this is our Run Disney support group. Go check it out if you'd like to join, if you haven't done so already. And we'd love for you guys to look into getting some information and other stuff, and even a chance to pop in, talk about your own training, ask your own questions. And we'd love for you guys to check that out if you haven't already done so. So, go check it out again over on Facebook. Just search Ear to Ear Magic Run Disney support group and ask to join. So, so Calvin, tell us a little bit about what we need to do to, if we haven't already, to prepare for what's coming up for these races.
Sure. No, great. And thanks everybody for joining us. So a couple of kind of preambles before we fully get into this. I've shared with a few of you before, but I am not a trained coach when it comes to Run Disney, when it comes to the RunWalk method that we're going to be talking a lot about tonight. I don't have an official education background in this. However, I have been doing it for more than 10 years. So I have successfully completed over 20, 25 Disney races, varying distances, using this RunWalk method. I'm very familiar with, kind of the Disney plans. So a lot of what we're talking about tonight comes straight from the Run Disney site under their training banner. If you go out to that training banner, they're going to be able to give you a number of different RunWalk plans that will help you get ready for a variety of distances. So what we've done, for those that are interested in part of our Facebook group, is we've gone out and we've taken those Run Disney plans and we've simply slotted in the dates. And that way you know exactly what week you need to be doing what to get ready for Wine and Dine. So our focus for this conversation tonight is Wine and Dine. However, you can take any of those plans on the Run Disney site and really not even just have a Run Disney race in mind. You can take those plans and apply them to something you have in your local area. So Run Disney is giving you the tools to really unlock your potential as an athlete and the ability to get out there and put that toe on the start line and get out there and get going and participating in whatever event it is that you're doing, whether you're doing Run Disney in person, Run Disney virtual, or a local race. Any of those things can be achieved using a lot of what Disney provides you in the training program. And we'll talk a little bit more about the training program tonight. The other thing, as always, just keep in mind, you are an individual. Everybody is different. The plan that we're going to be talking about tonight may not work for you. You really need to understand your own personal limitations. You need to understand your own time and your ability to commit to getting ready for these races. You need to understand your medical condition and talk to your physicians and talk to your medical professionals and make sure that you are taking care of yourself as you go through this process. Because as exciting as crossing that finish line is and getting that medal, the real journey that we're going to be talking about tonight is that training to get to that Run Disney start line. Because I'll be honest with you, and I've done it both ways. I've gone down there and run races where I didn't do my homework. And I didn't do my preparation. And it was not as fun of an experience as I've had when I have gone down with the training in my pocket and know that I am prepared to toe that start line and that I've done the work and that I'm ready to do this. So tonight we're going to be talking a lot about habits. We're going to be talking a lot about just kind of getting ready for that first or second or maybe your 100th Disney race. We're going to be talking about just getting ready and the steps you want to go through as we kind of progress through. So, Chris, do we want to pull up that 5K plan and we'll talk about that a little bit? Perfect. So folks, this is an example of a 5K plan. So when you're looking at this, you're seeing on that far left-hand side, the weeks. So this is kind of, think about it as a week starting on Monday and running through the following weekend. So typically the RunDisney plan, unless you're doing a challenge event, will consist of 3 runs. It'll consist of 2 short runs during the week and a long run on the weekend. And many times what you're going to hear people talking about is, okay, well, what happens if I miss a run? What happens if I miss one? That's okay. It's not the end of the world. What you want to do is you want to try to find a way to, make it, not necessarily make it up the next day, but try to find a way to either get in that additional run on an off day, or just skip that run, go to the next piece of the plan, and try to pick back up with where things left off. So this is not a pursuit of perfection. You're going to have days where life happens. That's okay. Things are going to happen that are going to prevent you from being able to get potentially one of your weekday short runs in. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. If you can make it up on a day when you weren't planning on running, great. If not, that's okay. The goal is to get in as many of these runs as you can, so that you're building up your body, building up the habit, so that when you get down to Disney for the race, you're ready. And that's what these plans will do. These plans are not going to help you qualify for the Boston Marathon. These plans are designed to help you finish the race in an upright position, meaning you are on your own 2 feet and you're crossing that finish line. Yes, Chris, that means I will not carry you piggyback again across the finish line. Sorry, once was too much. So everything here is really here to help you. So let's talk about, you're seeing these distances here, you're seeing number of minutes. So if it tells you to run for a certain number of minutes, the idea is you're just trying to build up mileage on your legs. You're trying to train your body to go for that period of time. Now, does that need you to be running the entire time? I personally can't run more than about 4 or 5 minutes at the most before I need to take a walk break. And that's really pushing it for me. So I can't do 30 minutes. I can't do 45 minutes straight run. That's okay. The RunWalk method, what we're here tonight to talk about, is designed to give you an opportunity to let your body recover as you're on the race course and then get back engaged. So think about it as you're never stopping. A lot of people think about RunWalk as, I'm running, I don't want to stop and walk. You're never stopping. You're constantly moving and putting one step closer to that finish line with every move you make, whether it be training or race day. So as you're starting out, if you've never run before, do very simple things. And you will see a lot of this out on the RunDisney site as part of their broader training guidance. But do something as simple as running from one mailbox to the next, and then walking for 30 seconds, walking for a minute, and then do it again. You run for another section of mailboxes and walk again. So that's the kind of thing you could do. Go ahead, Chris.
I think just something we talk about a lot, especially for people who watch it on our YouTube channel, when they think, I'll never be able to run in a RunDisney race. I mean, I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner either, except when I'm late for my light loading or being called late for dinner. But all of the races that we did for the Springtime Surprise was a combination of continually running, walking, but like you said, always continually moving. And I think it's really good when we do our 5K live streams that people can see that we're not hoofing it around the World Showcase.
No, we're not.
And it's not like everybody else is, and we're not. Matter of fact, when we did this last year for our very first Wine and Dine as a group, we were one of the very last people to cross the start line, which worried me a little bit. But we, in fact, were not the last people to cross the finish line.
Nope.
So,
and so let's talk about the approach we're going to have as a team to the races in November in particular. So for those of you that are joining us for the 5K, understand a couple of pieces. You're as we talk about RunDisney, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about the balloon ladies. You're going to hear people talking about minimum pace requirements, things along those lines. Those rules and those things don't apply to the 5K. Yes, Disney is going to need to open the park, and at some point they're going to close the course. However, that in all likelihood, that will not impact our group at all. You can literally, and we have walked every step of the way of the 5K and gotten our medals. And there is nothing in the world wrong with that. And that if you want to just go out and follow this 5K plan and walk every bit of it, that is 100% fine. You are going to go down to Disney, and if you follow this plan and successfully complete it, just walking, you are ready for your 5K. Congratulations. You're going to toe the line with us, and we are going to go around that course, and we are going to have a ball. Unfortunately, the food booths will not be open at the time that we're walking past them. But other than that, everything will be fantastic. So, we're going to have a good early morning there at Epcot on that 5K day. You can walk the entire course. That's not a problem. So the 5K plan you're looking at right now, if you wanted to walk every step of that, that's fine. Just make sure you're getting out there and getting your body in a position to just do these times and these distances. Because what that's going to do is that's going to give you that confidence the day of the race when everything else is going on, that I've done this. I've done the distance. I've done my homework. I'm ready for this. And if you miss a few pieces, that's okay. We're going to be there as a team. We're going to be there as a group, and we're going to work together to get everybody through this race. And we're here to support you. We're here to enjoy this experience as a group. And part of that is supporting each other and getting each other around the line. Unless, of course, you're Gabriel, in which case you see the finish line, you run off and leave the rest of us. Yes, Gabriel, I'm looking at you. So overall, we're having a great time, and that's the 5K. If you're running the 10K or if you're running the half, that's where things get a little bit more serious when we start talking about balloon ladies and time. And I want to pause there for a moment. And Chris, with my setup, I'm having a lot of problems being able to follow chat and see what we've got on the screen. So let me know if there's some particular chat questions that we might want to address.
Most certainly. I've already let everybody know we're going to have a Q&A session at the end.
Okay.
So I've asked that if they have any questions, get prepared for them, and we'll do that after we've talked over the documents as well.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the 10K and the half preparation plan. So the 10K that we're showing here, the goal with this is more geared toward making sure not only can you finish the race, but you can finish the race in the time that they're going to allot you. Keep in mind, Disney is very liberal with their policy on what your time can be. And what I mean by liberal is you don't have to be running 12-minute miles. You don't have to be running 10-minute miles. It's 16-minute miles. And I'll be honest with you. There are people that I know that can walk 16-minute miles all day long. I am not one of them. The only reason I'm able to finish these races in the time that I do is because I make up some very slow walk breaks with some faster run breaks. That's just me. You may be very different. You may find that your walk pace is perfectly fine and can get you around the course in 16-minute miles without a problem. And if you are, more power to you. Can you please show me how? Because in the years that I've been running, my typical walk pace is something more like a 17 or 16-minute mile best case scenario. So if I were to walk the entire race course at a 17-minute mile and I started with the balloon ladies in the back of the course, I would likely not be able to finish the course in the time that they have. But if you can maintain that 16-minute mile through some combination of walking and running, you're fine. This guide, these dates, these runs and walks are simply designed, like the 5K, to help you, number one, prove to yourself that you can do it. There's a lot of different approaches to getting ready for these races. And what you'll see with these distances and with these notes is you actually do run the race distance. There are some recommendations, and especially as you get into really long distances like marathon, that say, oh, you don't need to run the entire distance. And that's 100% valid. There are a lot of people that finish a marathon and in their entire training, they never ran more than 20 miles. I am not one of those people. I needed to know mentally before I started my races that I'd done the work, that I have done this distance before. I don't need to get in some kind of weird headspace that says, oh man, I've never done this before. I'm not sure if I can finish. I have done this. I've done it in my training. And my training may not even been the pace that I want to finish the race in for race day. That's okay. Every time you go out and do one of these distances, you don't have to be doing it at race pace. As a matter of fact, if you go out and look at the RunDisney site and the RunDisney guidance, when you look at your long runs, especially for the 10K, the half, and I know we're talking about Wine and Dine this weekend, but I know that we also have a few marathoners and dopey folks that are out there as well that are starting training. Remember that your long runs are not designed to be run at maximum effort and at race pace. You're designed to be a little bit slower for those. The long runs, those weekend runs, are designed to get the mileage on your legs over a consistent distance so that come race day, your body is comfortable and familiar with the distances that you're going to be traveling. So as we're looking here at this 10K plan, you'll see, just like we were talking about before, you've got 2 short runs during the week and a longer run on the weekend. And that longer run varies. Some weeks it'll be a shorter run, some weeks it'll be a longer run. And that gives you some flexibility. Some weekends you may find, hey, I don't have enough time to do this on Saturday, but I have time to do this on Sunday. Fantastic, no problem. Because if you happen to be able to do your weekday runs on like a Tuesday, Thursday, that still gives you a day to recover, even if you're doing your longer run on Sunday before you need to go do your short run during the week. So if you need that flexibility, this plan can help get you that, because all it's looking to do is one weekend day a week, one of those 2 weekend days, you get in that long run. And that long run does not have to be race pace. If you are a seasoned runner, or you're really, kind of getting into the program and you're feeling like you're making great progress, fantastic. You can go out and push yourself a little bit more on especially those shorter weekend runs. Build up your stamina, build up your strength. Nothing in the world wrong with that. But just listen to your body. Understand that you're not immediately going to go out and qualify for the Olympics. And maybe there's somebody in this group that could do that. But, most people are not going to be able to just immediately drop down times that are going to qualify them for some of the big marathon races around the world. They've got to build up to that. So I would encourage you to just use these plans to help do that. Prove to yourself mentally, build the habits that are going to help make you successful for the weekend. So Chris, let's look at that half marathon training program real quick, and let's talk about that, because that has a unique element that we've really not talked about yet. So as you'll notice, this half marathon plan is a little different. It does have the same short runs during the week, long run on the weekend. But you'll notice, for example, with this version of the half marathon training program, the week of August 21st, on the weekend there you have 8 miles plus MM. Unfortunately, that does not mean that you go run 8 miles and then you eat a pack of M&Ms. Instead, the MM is Magic Mile. Now, if you go out and look at the RunDisney training site, they're going to do probably a better job of describing the Magic Mile than I am, but let me try to give it a shot. The Magic Mile is designed to give you an idea where you are with your conditioning and with your race preparation. So the goal with the Magic Mile, ideally, if you can find a high school track. So think about your local high school. If they make that track available to the public, that is a full-size track. And 4 laps around a high school track is going to be a mile. So if you have, for example, that week of August 21st, 8 miles plus a Magic Mile, what you're actually going to run that weekend is 9 miles. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to warm up for about a mile. So let's say the local high school track's about a mile from your house. That's perfect. Because what you're going to do is you're going to want to go out and do a mile to just kind of get your body warmed up, get ready to go. Then you're going to want to do the Magic Mile. On the Magic Mile, the goal there is to put in the maximum effort that you can using whatever run, walk, or run only, walk only interval that you want to pursue to get in that mile. Then once you've run the Magic Mile, you actually have an idea of what you might be able to do race day. So there are actual calculators, and we'll post a link to one of those calculators on the Jeff Galloway site, where you can go and plug in your magic mile time, and it will actually tell you, hey, based on your magic mile time, here's what we think you could actually do over a course of a 10K, over the course of a half marathon, over the course of a marathon, and help get you ready for those races with some realistic expectations. So that's the magic mile. The magic mile is simply a way to kind of measure your progress, measure your conditioning, and see where you are. And you'll notice that this plan has a couple of magic miles dropped in there. And that's the idea there, is just kind of see how you're progressing. Is your magic mile faster or slower than what you've run before? And that kind of gives you an idea how you're getting ready. But the important thing with this plan, you'll notice that by the time it's said and done, you run 3 miles in a magic mile the week of 10-9, you run 14 miles the next weekend, then you're back down to 3, then we've got race day. So you will have run the full distance as part of your preparation with the overall plan. So just wanted to kind of call out those magic miles and those plans and overall what we have available to us, not only in the documents that we put on our Facebook group, but more importantly, out at the RunDisney site. Like I said before, these plans are not going to be perfect for everybody. You're going to find, some of you are going to find that these plans work great for you. Some of you are going to say, hey, I just don't feel like I'm making enough progress. I need to go out and do some more homework and find some research. Put those questions out to the Facebook group. We absolutely can point you in the direction of some other resources beyond RunDisney. But we thought we would at least start with what everybody has access to and has kind of worked for a number of us that have done these races before relative to the RunDisney program. So Chris, let me pause there. I've been talking for a while now, and let's see what questions the group may have, and we'll kind of go from there.
I think I was on mute there. We want to open this up. There are going to be questions. We have people watching on Facebook. We have people watching on YouTube. Now, I'm getting word on through the system here. I'm checking to see. I'm not 100% sure that all of the questions. I'm getting comments from both Facebook and YouTube. I just want to make sure. But if you guys are having problems, Facebook, the way it works sometimes doesn't work perfectly. Jump over to YouTube if you guys need to. Or like I said, if you're already on the Facebook group, simply put a comment in or put a post in, and we'll be glad to respond to that as well. So what questions do you guys have? Mark says, what do you feel is the best way to protect your knees over the long run, especially if you have a weak knee?
So relative to kind of protecting your knees, the RunWalk method is really designed to help kind of protect you overall. I've been running for 13 years, and I've had very few serious injuries that have been brought about through running. Typically, when I'm noticing more significant aches and pains, it's because I've been running in my shoes too long, or I pushed a little bit too hard on a particular race or training session, something along those lines. The RunWalk method is designed to actually help your body recover, not just in between race events and between training, but actually on the training as well. Like I said, you don't stop moving. You are always going to put one step and one foot in front of the other, be making progress toward that finish line. But you're really want to be sure that you're putting in that walk interval to kind of give your body a little bit of a break. And Kate Toast Tucker, you're right. Relative to stretching and warming up, there's some different theories on stretching. Before you run, after you run, definitely the more you can do to kind of decompress and stretch after a run for sure is important. Be careful with some of your pre-run stretching, because if you're trying to what they call static stretch a cold muscle, think about the people that you see kind of trying to pull their foot up behind their head before they go out for a run. Sometimes you can actually injure yourself that way a little bit. So try to, when you're thinking about pre-run activities, think about more what they call kinetic. So light walking, fast walking, light jogging, things like that to kind of get warmed up, as opposed to just stretching before you go out for a run, and then really make sure you get those stretches in after the run.
Imagine you're walking from your room to the front of Pop Century to get to the bus stop. That's, a good warm up in that way. Or like we talked about today at Port Orleans Riverside, you're way down at the bottom. You got to walk all the way over to the West Depot for bus. So, yeah. We did have a question. Yeah, good question from Kwarini. What about adjustments for weather?
So typically so what I'm trying to remember what the rule is, and I think this may be on the RunDisney site. The Galloway folks will recommend that you cut your anticipated pace, so how many minutes per mile you're planning on running, by about 30 seconds to 60 seconds per, I'm going to say 5 degrees, every 5 degrees over 70 degrees that you're running in. That doesn't necessarily help you account for humidity. So just be aware of the weather. Realize that, like I said earlier, every race or every, session you have to train is not something where you have to, do maximum effort. Heat and humidity can be your enemy. So it's more important that you're out there getting in the miles than you are getting in the miles at the pace that you want, especially when you're dealing with heat and humidity. Adjust your pace, make sure you're feeling well. We joke about it on the stream, but it has never been more important. Hydrate. Make sure you are, if you're going out for a long run and you're getting in, 15, you're getting ready for a marathon, you're getting in a 15-mile session, take that water with you. You really, really want to make sure that you're getting out there and adjusting properly and preparing properly. I run with a running belt in the summer, especially. I'll typically take 2 small containers of Gatorade with me or Powerade with me, and just kind of go from there. So that's what I'd recommend. Chris, I see a comment, so I just have the comments pulled up. I don't have anything else. So Disney Houston's kind of asking for Shin Splints.
Shin Splints.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. My daughter's been experiencing Shin Splints lately because she's just gotten back into some running for the summer because that's kind of her, kind of stress relief a little bit. So what she's found is that she's just got to kind of build up. Those Shin Splints especially, can really get you if you're not careful. So that's where you've got to build up mileage over time. If you're finding that you've got a lot of body aches and leg aches, that probably means that you're pushing it a little bit harder on your run than you should, and back off a little bit and ease into it. You kind of always, you think about, how do I know I'm running too fast? If you can't have a conversation with somebody, and even if you're running by yourself, I do it and people think I'm crazy, but it actually works. Talk to yourself for a second. Are you able to carry on a conversation with somebody? If you can't, you're probably running a little faster than you should be. So that's where you kind of want to take a step back. We could talk about race equipment if folks want to get into that. I typically run with a running watch, and we can talk about that. But a lot of your smart watches today, Apple Watch, things like that, are good enough and can help you with a lot of this. So let's see. So actually, while we're in between comments a little bit, let's talk a little bit about equipment. Let's talk about, I've been talking a lot about RunWalk. Well, how do you know whether you're running or walking or what you're supposed to be doing?
Oh, I know the answer to this. You have Calvin with you, and he tells you when to run, and he tells you when to walk.
That's true.
And then he does a countdown.
And I want to share with the team, and I am dead serious when I share this with you guys, okay? If there are folks on this group that need some help, especially Wine and Dine weekend, my purpose in being there, Wine and Dine weekend, is to help every single one of you give your best effort possible and give you the best chance to finish those races. I will run walk with you guys as best I can to help get you around the course. If one of you wants to run a 30-30 or a bunch of you want to run a 30-30 for the 10K or the half, we will absolutely do that, and we will knock it out of the park, and we will go finish those races together. So I want everybody to be aware of that, and happy to help provide that running, walking kind of mantra for more than just Chris. But there are a couple of different apps. So if you like running with your phone, whether you're listening to audiobooks or anything along those lines, there's one piece in particular. It's called Runkeeper. We can post some links to that on this Facebook group as well. Runkeeper will actually let you set up custom run walk intervals and can really kind of keep you going relative to your run walk. Because what it will do is it'll actually give you an audio cue over your headphones to say, hey, you're supposed to be running now. Hey, you're supposed to be walking now, while still letting you listen to your music or whatever. So, really, really can be helpful for that. Rachel Hamilton just suggested, the Garmin watch for intervals. Absolutely. I run with a Garmin. I actually ran with a Garmin to start with. I moved over to my Apple Watch, and then honestly, I went back to a Garmin. So you can really, really just make sure that you're comfortable with the equipment that you have. If you have questions about gear, definitely throw those into the Facebook group and be able to kind of, hit out there. D, you got a question about, can you do this at the Y? Absolutely. I actually, I think this past Thursday, I had had an interval that I needed to go run, and we had some rainy weather here in the Atlanta area where I live. So I actually just ran the track at the Y. Actually, it was this past Monday. So this past Monday, I ran the track at the Y. Now, I wasn't counting miles. For me, that was a timed workout where I was trying to run for a certain distance of time or length of time. And then I would do some other exercises, and then I would go back out and run the track for another interval of time. So really, really, absolutely, you can do this. You can do these things on a treadmill. We've had, Chris, I think you had folks doing the virtual with us a couple of weeks ago on treadmills. You can do your training on a treadmill.
It's going to be a little harder to do the run walk on the treadmill, probably. Or can you do that? Can you do a run walk on a treadmill? I mean, by the time
I have. It depends on the treadmill. So I actually found a treadmill at my Y that lets you do a setup where I would
adjust.
Wow. Yeah, it would adjust.
Okay,
it would adjust with the touch of a single button. It would actually revert back to my walk pace. It would allow me to jump back and forth. D, I know you had a couple of questions about, can you walk? Yeah, so for the 5K, absolutely you can walk. For the 10K and the half, as long as you can maintain a 16-minute per mile pace, yes, you could walk the entire distance if that's what you wanted to do. I have friends of mine that and I've actually done this myself, where Dopey a few years ago, I was competing multiple races, and I did not want to push for every single one of those races because of the distance that we were doing over the weekend. So if I remember correctly, I walked the 5K and the half that weekend. The 10K I ran a little bit, and then the marathon I ran a lot. So those are definitely ways that you can get around. But 100% 5K, you can walk the entire distance and kind of do that kind of thing. Quaharini, you bring up a good point relative to the elliptical. If you're comfortable on elliptical, you do have a little bit more control over that run walk a little bit. So you can kind of just listen to your watch or listen to your phone and listen for those run walk, because the elliptical is more driven by your motion than the motor of the treadmill. But there are absolutely options out there.
The elliptical takes a lot of pressure off of your knees as well. But I will say this though. You kind of almost need to have some treadmill outdoor motion hitting your heels on the ground to really build your body up to that. Because here's the thing, when I really get into cardio, ellipticals are great because they take the pressure off of your knees and things like that. But it doesn't really prepare you for that concrete, that asphalt feeling of your heels hitting as they do. So I'd say, get your times in for the ellipticals, but there's something to be said about letting your feet hit the ground or the treadmill.
Yep. And folks, there are a lot of very well trained professional groups out there that can help get you ready for races. The Galloway group actually has what they call customized training. That's where you can actually pay to have the chief training officer for the Galloway group, a gentleman by the name of Chris Twiggs. He'll actually be down for the RunDisney races typically, and they're in the Galloway booth. He will actually help prepare plans for you. So instead of seeing the generic plan that we have out there for you, he'll talk about what are the races you have going on and what you've got planned for yourself over the next 6 months or whatever time period you've purchased the training for, and we'll create a custom training plan and actually have weekly Zoom sessions with everybody that's in customized training to talk about kind of where they are with their training, advice and questions they may have, things along those lines. There's similar groups. I've actually been with a group for about the last 6 months now called Nerd Fitness, and they provide one-on-one coaching where I've got a virtual coach, and I'll talk to him about what I've got planned, what's going on, and he'll help put together plans for me that will get me ready for races.
What kind of fitness was that again?
That would be nerd fitness, Chris.
Oh, okay.
I embrace the geek, so we are all.
Point of contention? No.
I went and ran my Tauntaun runs yesterday. Yes, I said Tauntaun. If George is out there, they do customize to a Star Wars extent if they need to. Couple of other things just for food for thought as people are kind of thinking about it, relative to fueling and hydrating and things like that. Definitely while you're running, you want to try to hydrate if you can, especially over those longer distances. I would say if you're doing anything longer than a 5K, training wise, so anything over 3 miles, definitely have some hydration with you, especially here in the summer. That's going to help you be successful. Everybody's a little different, so listen to your body, listen to your own advice, and kind of go from there. But if you haven't ever been fitted for running shoes, Chris went through this experience earlier this year. Go. They're not the cheapest things in the world to go out and purchase. However, a good pair of running shoes can absolutely be your salvation when it comes to maintaining your health and fitness when you're doing something like this. If you've got the wrong pair of shoes, your body is going to tell you about it. Listen to your body, understand what your body's telling you. The good news about a lot of different running stores is they'll typically let you get a pair of shoes and try them out. And if those shoes are not working for you, they will let you bring them back. So just understand when you go out to yep. So when you go out to a specialist running store, yes, you're not necessarily going to be able to get bargain basement prices, but you should be able to get good advice on what the right thing to do is for your feet and for what it is that you're trying to do where you are in your physical fitness. And you may find that a pair of shoes work for you initially, and then, over time they change. So, D, you're asking a question about, how do you give me your info? So if you're running one of the virtuals, for example, over the summer, if you go out to RunDisney and you look at your account, so that's over on the far right-hand side. That's one of the sub-menus on the far right-hand side navigation. There's a thing called My Account. And if you log into your account, you'll actually see the races that you're registered for. And you can actually enter your times there. One of the things I noticed when we did our virtual 5K a few weeks ago is that if you're registered for the full series for the summer, it won't let you save your time until you have all 3 races. So we may have to wait until you finished all 3 races to be able to do that final one. Let's see. Rachel's come in with a lot of good advice tonight around the water bottle attachments and awesome. Different stuff. So, good stuff. And those are all fantastic.
That was something they brought up as well for me. And this is something I was not aware of before getting into this. Shoes are good running shoes are a must. What I was not aware of is inserts. Mm-hmm. Inserts that come with the shoe are not necessarily going to be by themselves at default what you need. I have some really amazing running shoes. They don't have the inserts that came with them. I took them out, I replaced them, and I actually replaced them again. I had some major issues with plantar fasciitis, I think it's called. Fascism. Yep. It was something like that, and it didn't go well.
We all have problems with fascism.
Yeah, I was coming back from the parks, guys. No, you guys, I don't talk about this a lot because the streams are not about me. The streams are about us as a community. And guys, it didn't matter to you if my feet were killing me, but for January, February, March, every time I came back from walking into the parks, my left foot was in so much pain. As soon as I got back, it was off my feet for the remainder of the day. It was so bad that I actually did have a doctor's appointment about it. Finding the right type of inserts that fit your feet, even if you have to go get them measured or have something like that custom fitted, makes a big difference. I did find a company that offered to send me something. I'm going to show you. I want to share with you guys what these are later, and it made the biggest difference. So if you're new to this, like I was when I first started getting into it, You think you spent so much money on a shoe. How could it not be perfect as it is? There's one more step to think about and to see if that might be helpful to check and to see about changing out the inserts, because not everybody's feet are the same. And changing that insert makes a big difference. So,
Chris, Heather has an excellent question. So you're asking about breathing, Heather. There is nothing ridiculous about what you just asked. So breathing is very interesting when you think about your running cadence and things along those lines. So typically, well, like we were talking about being able to have a conversation earlier, if you can breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth and be able to comfortably feel like you're maintaining your breath and you're not just panting, that is a good sign that you're running at a pace and you are at a condition where you're not pushing your body to any kind of a breaking point. If you are just huffing and puffing and not able to have that conversation, and you can't breathe through your nose because the amount of oxygen that you need to take in, you're probably pushing a little bit too fast. So if you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, that is absolutely the kind of mindset that can help you be very successful. And I'll be honest with you, there are times when you're out running and you're like, I can't keep doing this. I'm 5 miles into a 10-mile race and I'm done. You know what? Focusing on your breathing for a mile can take your mind off of a lot of things. So you kind of got to get yourself, running and this type of athletic endeavor. Yes, it is very physical, but folks, it is very, very mental. Number one, you have to be a little bit crazy. We're all a little crazy here.
we're all a little mad.
Yeah, exactly. But the end of the day, you just got to prepare yourself mentally for, you're going to face some challenges. You're going to get out there and for a training run, and you're going to have a rainstorm come up and you're going to be soaking wet halfway through your run. You know what? You just prepared yourself. If it happens to be raining on race day, whether it be at RunDisney or anywhere else, you've just proven to yourself mentally, I can run in the rain. I know what to expect. I know how it's going to feel. I'm ready to go out and do this. Now, that doesn't mean I would necessarily recommend everybody just immediately go out and run in the rain because, you want that experience. But recognize that you're going to face some mental challenges and physical challenges as you go through this training process. Every one of those is a learning experience. And it's a matter of you kind of taking those in mentally, understanding what you can get out of them, and applying that to your future success. So it's just really, really critical that you understand kind of going into this game that, there's a mental element to this that you are preparing yourself for by doing this training, and it's not purely physical.
Well, I wanted to bring up, and I think I may have mentioned this. I don't know if I've shared this with anybody else or not. When we were doing the 10-miler, we were on the back end. We were doing quite well for the 10-miler. And I got to a point where I realized that my body was telling me I needed to pull back for just a bit. And the first part I thought is I don't know if I want to bring this up because I don't want to slow us down. I want to keep going. I have that finish line in mind. But there was still a part of me that says, just for a bit, you need to pull back just a bit. And so I don't know if you remember this or not, but
I do.
We came up to a point where we did a switchback and we had to run up an incline. And I said, you know what? Could we just not do the walk run interval as we go up this incline and just walk it? And we just took a complete sabbatical from that. I really needed that. And once that was done, I realized we were ready to go back into it. If I had failed to do that, either to myself to listen to it or to even bring it up, I think it would have probably turned out a lot worse the back end of that race if I had just kept pushing much more than I should have. So exactly, dude, you need to be able to just be prepared. This is training. No one's going to be there to watch to make sure that you beat a PR. That's not what this is about.
That's right.
And it's really just so you are building yourself up. So take it slower if you need to. No one's going to be back home when you walk in the door to go, well, wait a minute. Did you keep your pace the entire time? Did you go faster than last time? So don't judge yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself, and give yourself some freedom to pull back if you need to.
Yep. Heather had a question around, besides water, what's the best drink to hydrate with? Honestly, that is very much a personal thing. Some people do not like drinking. I drink Powerade just simply because, number one, that's what you're going to get down at RunDisney. You're going to get the Coke product, but they will actually mix it there at Disney. You're not getting it just straight out of the Powerade bottle until the very end. After you finish, you actually will get a bottle of Powerade for the 10K and the half marathon distances. But it just really depends on what you like to drink. So I typically will fill my water bottles, my 2 little hip flasks, if you will, with Powerade on a longer, hotter day, and then kind of go from there. So it just really depends on your personal preference. Water is always good. It's not a bad idea to alternate between something that has good electrolytes in it, like a Powerade, or something even better than that. There's a lot of different products out there that talk about electrolytes and water. Those are good mixtures. One thing I will recommend, and we'll talk a lot more about this as we get closer, as far as actual race day preparation and things like that. We wanted to focus a little bit on training tonight, but relative to you'll hear a lot of people talking about fueling and eating on the course. That is 100% a personal thing. Do not let people make you think that you have to eat an energy gel or you have to eat, something while you're on the course. If you're running a shorter distance, there's nothing, to say that you have to, eat a pack of Power Stinger jelly beans while you're out on the course. So, it just really, really depends on kind of what you're doing and how you're doing it. Rachel, you say, you are spot on correct. Everybody's body's going to be a little different, and everybody's got to know what their body will tolerate and not tolerate. I found out the hard way. One of my first Disney races, it was a half marathon. I got to mile 8. They were giving out the energy jelly beans from the one of the race sponsors. And I said, hey, fantastic. This must be something I need. I'm supposed to eat these. They're at mile 8. I'll do that. I ate one of the energy jelly beans, and by about mile 9.5, I was distinctly regretting having tried a new food that I had never had before. Oh, no. So it can happen.
So training might include trying out new things and not having to wait till you're on the actual course to have something for the first time.
Chris, that's an excellent point, and it reminds me of a time when I showed up at Disney for, I think it was Springtime Surprise, and I was in my hotel room, and this guy shows up at the door with 2 orange traffic cone costumes that I had never seen before nor tried on, and proceeded to go out and run the 5K the next day in a traffic cone costume. That's probably not the best plan. Train like you
next
can.
Next time we're wearing the orange cones all year round.
Ooh,
and you get used to it. And that way, when you get stopped by the officer on your training, then you can just stand still and they won't know where you are.
Absolutely. Well, in all seriousness, if you are planning on running some type of costume, anything different, wear that on some of your training runs before you go down.
I know it seems silly, but it's the same thing with camping, and campers will tell you this. Do not go camping with a brand new tent and put your tent together for the first time at the camping ground. That's not when you put your tent together for the first time. You have to put it together at home first, because when you're out there and it's pouring down rain and you don't know where tent A goes into pole B, and it's not a good idea. So if you do have something like that, you don't mind running around with the princess costume on, give it a go. Just kind of make sure. Like we did it on the 5K. On the 5K, we knew it was going to be a little bit okay. We had some flexibility. There's no way in the world I would have done that for a half marathon.
Yep.
It was not aerodynamic at all.
Well, and not even just aerodynamic. You would be amazed at the seams you will find in clothing that you didn't know existed when you're rubbing up against that seam over the course of 6 or 13 or 26 miles. So it really is a good idea to be very, very comfortable and familiar with everything that you're planning on running in the day of the race. You don't want to be down at Disney buying a new sports watch and trying to figure out how to program it the day before the race. Be comfortable with what you have, be comfortable with what you're wearing, be comfortable with what you're doing. That's what this training is all about, is comfort. Building familiarity, building comfort, so that when it's time to go do it for real, you don't have to focus on those little nuance.
You're basically just running through the ritual that you've already created in yourself.
Absolutely. It's habit forming. That's what this is about, is building those habits, building familiarity, building comfort with the things you're going to be doing on race day so that you can go execute.
Good thing, Rachel, the same thing, and that goes with everything.
Yep.
Shoes. Don't buy a brand new pair of shoes. Don't show up on race weekend and on Thursday night buy a brand new pair of running shoes and then run the course Friday morning. There's a huge potential for disaster. Same thing for your clothes and your running gear. You don't want to catch yourself. You don't want to find yourself going 3.1 miles and something that you realize, the first 0.1 that you should not be wearing.
Yep.
So it's a good idea. It's the same thing with the parks. You don't come to the parks on a brand new pair of shoes. It's never a good idea. Break them in first. Make sure you're comfortable with them.
Yep.
Are there any other questions from you guys? And here's the thing. If you guys are watching with us tonight and you're not already a part of our Facebook group, it is Ear to Ear Magic Run Disney support group. Calvin will be in there throwing things in there. He's already uploaded each of these documents that I've thrown up just to give you guys something you can take a look at and download. You can see it a lot better than what we've shown on the screen today. Go check it out. Heather over on YouTube just put the link in. If you're watching from the Facebook group, you're in there. So you made it already.
Chris, Travis is asking what we should wear for the races. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a way that we as a group, especially for the 5K, can kind of have a group costume. We're talking through a few ideas. We'll actually maybe even bounce some ideas around the Facebook group. It is, the overall weekend is Encanto themed, but if I remember correctly, Chris, the 5K is Alice in Wonderland themed.
I believe it is.
So we'll talk through,
playing cards. We're going to be playing cards. One gigantic non-aerodynamic piece of plastic.
That sounds like a fantastic idea, and I'm willing to bet that's going to
We'll hand them out at the start line.
So we absolutely could head down that path or many others. So stay tuned, but we'll talk about that. But in all seriousness, Travis, relative to the races, wear what you're comfortable in. If you're comfortable in running in a long sleeve shirt and a pair of running shorts or running pants, that's what you need to be able to do. Like we were saying earlier, it's be comfortable in what you're wearing, have worn it before, so that way especially over the distance that you're going to be going. It's one thing to wear it around the block. It's a whole other thing to wear it for 10K. And if anything, I've been called dumb before, so yeah. If Chris, you're gonna be Tweedledee, I can be Tweedledum. But yeah, no, we'll talk about some themes around the race weekend and kind of get ready for that. And Wine and Dine's going to be exciting, folks. And remember that challenge race, we've got Figment as our mascot, and we've never had Figment as a mascot for an in-person race before. And maybe we'll actually have an in-person Figment meet and greet in the parks by then.
That would be
so
great.
Who knows what we might be able to see on the race course.
So as a reminder, guys, what we're doing here is we're not trying to be some professional Run Disney group. What we're trying to do is give you that little push, that little inspiration, and that nudge to try something different that you've always wanted to do and to be a part of a Run Disney experience. We can do this as a group. We want to inspire. We want to help support, and we basically just want to make sure that you have a cheering squad along the entire process. So if you are signed up for the 5K, we would love for you guys to move along with us and to do that with us as a group. Come November, we will have other meetups and things set up for that weekend so that we can celebrate and have a great time. I'm looking forward to just having so much of the Magic crew come in. As we have more people join who may have already been signed up for the 5K, this is an opportunity for us to meet and have even more people just enjoy the parks together, and we're looking forward to it. So again, if you guys are watching on Facebook or are watching on YouTube and you haven't joined the Facebook group, we'd love to have you guys join in and let us know what you're going to be racing. We're going to have more information across the way. And for myself, it's time to get started and doing the training. If you have questions, you can download the documents. Feel free to ask questions in the group. And unlike some of the other social media accounts that we have, you guys can post your pictures of your training. Encourage others. Yep. And we want you guys to do that. So when you guys get ready to start doing your interval running, put it on there. Take a picture of yourself doing it. Like, I did it. I've done my stuff. And encourage others to do the same. So as a group, when we get together that first week in November, we are ready to go. And as a group, as a community, we're going to have a great time for Wine and Dine. So I just wanted to say thank you again to Calvin for taking time. He has been preparing for this. He's been the documents have been in the Facebook group for a while, and he's always there to inspire me and to push me. Even while I'm cruising, coming back, he's already letting me know that the spring surprise of next year is going to have a Stitch theme to it. So I guess we're going to be doing 19 miles again come 2024. Come on. So ready to go. And it's always the way, if you guys are interested, all I got to say is, come on, who's coming with us? So
that's right.
Again, thank you guys so much, Calvin. Greatly appreciate your help, sir. And I look forward to spending more time with this group as we prepare over the next few months, getting ready for our races. And until then, we will see you guys in the parks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Good night, folks.
Bye, everybody. You going to say goodbye? Nova wants to say goodbye, too. Goodbye, Nova. Goodbye, Nova. All right. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.